Good morning. Thanks for being here. I know normally on Sundays I post at 8 a.m. sharp, so this morning I'm a little tardy. I'll have to ask you to forgive me, but it is for a good reason, and it is for the same reason that is the thing that I wanted to tell you about when I made my announcement about the Q&A. So, what has been occupying my time? Well, I have been helping to direct a play, believe it or not. So I live here in New York City, and my partner Scout and I moved here originally to pursue theater. And obviously that whole endeavor has been largely on hold, for most of the people who came here to do that. But recently we've both been given an exciting opportunity. So a friend of ours wrote a play. Scout is in the play. I'm helping to direct the play, and it's going to be put on by the Soho Playhouse as part of their live stream series. So it's very exciting. We're performing the show live every night, and it's going to be broadcast from their space in downtown Manhattan. And you can come see it if you like. I will put a ticket link in the description. It's going to be really exciting. It's going to be like a whole virtual night of theater, because we've partnered with an organization called Oh Yay that creates like virtual spaces. So when you click on the link to attend the show, if you should elect to attend it, you'll see the marquee as if you were approaching a theater, and then you'll click and you'll enter the lobby, and you can go into all these different rooms and chat with other people. You can wait in the bathroom line, which is a classic New York City theater opportunity. And then, when the show starts, when it's about time to begin, there'll be an announcement made, and you'll have to make your way to the theater and find your seat, and then you'll see like the red curtain, and the lights will go down, and our show will begin. And our show is really special. These last 3 days, actually, we've been working in the space at Soho, doing some pre-filming stuff, because not to draw back the curtain too much, but our show involves a few moments where we cut away to something that we filmed ahead of time to sort of make the magic seamless. So it was really crazy and stressful and a lot of fun and really magical. So if that's something that you would like to watch, it's going to be the first weekend of April, and like I said, there'll be a ticket link in the description, and I would love it if you could be there. You can watch it from wherever you are in the world, and it's also, you don't have to be there on the night if you're on the other side of the planet from me, and that means that in order to see a 7 o'clock show, you'd have to be up at 3:30 in the morning or whatever. That's okay. You can watch it after the fact in that chunk of days. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you. So it's a play called The Garden. It's at the Soho Playhouse in downtown Manhattan, and it's going to be really fun. I'm really, really proud of what we've been doing. So anyway, now on to the real meat of today's business, answering some questions. And I can't thank you guys enough for asking such varied questions, and so many of you responded to my invitation to ask questions, and I'm really excited to answer some of these. So I've sort of condensed them to as many as I think I can fit into a shorter video. My last Q&A was like 5 years long, so I'm going to see if I can keep this one a little bit briefer. So Hazel Chief Rabbit asks, my question is, this is the one I wanted to start with, how long did it take for you to learn and master these basic techniques in coffee? Do you think 10 days of training over a period of 10 weeks are enough for someone to completely inexperienced with coffee? So Hazel explains earlier in the comment that they've heard that I work at a coffee shop, and they recently started working at a coffee shop and are having some difficulty. So I thought it was a funny question to get things started with. And Hazel, to answer your question, if you were completely inexperienced with coffee beforehand, 10 days is probably not enough time. It takes a long time, but enjoy the journey because it is very rewarding. But it took me a long time. I mean, I worked with coffee for years before I actually worked in a coffee shop, and it took me like a few months working in the coffee shop, like 4 or 5 days a week, before I really felt confident about my steaming and lattes and stuff. Okay, Jan Dirk Visagi, please excuse my name pronunciation. And there's a lot of these that are like screen names, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, so we'll see how it goes. But Jan asks, how did you find your singing voice? Was it something you developed, or could you always sing? Now, that is a great question. I think I always had the instinct to sing. I always wanted to be singing. But it wasn't until I got a little iPod Shuffle that could hold like 300 songs. I think it was a Shuffle. It was the kind that had the little clip on it and no screen, like very early iPod. And I'd like clip it onto my t-shirt sleeve. And at like 7 a.m., I would take our family dogs walking through my neighborhood, and I would just belt Billy Joel songs. and like Fall Out Boy, like a very eclectic taste as an 11-year-old. So it took a lot of that. And then even beyond that, you know, I've taken like small chunks of singing lessons throughout the years. So I've always had a natural instinct for singing, but the actual technique and like learning what works for your voice, it's taken me a long time, you know. A friend of mine who watches the videos was like, you know, sometimes it looks like you're like trying to put on this face of like you're putting in effort when you sing like high notes. And I was like, oh, that's just because like making this smiley face, like, it like relaxes my soft palate. And he was like, oh, okay, great. But like that sort of little thing, learning that about how your voice works, it takes a long time. It took me a long time anyway. Okay. Raquel Mendez asks, why aren't you on Instagram? Well, Raquel, I used to be on Instagram, and I got off maybe 3 years ago. I think it would have been, yeah, it was like almost exactly 3 years ago because it was around February. And it just, you know, at the time it was like it just wasn't good for like my mental and emotional health. I was just getting into yoga, and I followed all these like yoga accounts. And that was the catalyst for me to realize that I was comparing myself to everyone that I saw on Instagram. Because like all these yoga accounts, these people have been doing yoga for like a bajillion years. And so they can do all these crazy yoga poses. And I was over here like, man, I can barely do this like, you know, basic thing. And it was really like affecting me. So then I realized that that was what I was kind of doing with everyone that I was seeing on Instagram, was like constant comparison. And as Scout has recently taught me, compare to spare. Compare to spare. Okay, Nate Wiseman. When you're mixing a song, which instruments go first and which are layered on top? Why? Nate, I am honored that you think that I know the answer to that question, but I don't. So when I'm doing a song for YouTube, I generally only use one microphone, and I just try to set it up in such a way that it gets the balance of vocals to acoustic guitar right. But like for my record, for example, Josh Turner mixed that record for me. I think he usually starts like drums and bass first and dials those in. But it does vary from song to song as far as I know. It depends on sort of what's the sort of driving force of the song. Okay, here's one of those. Alonmo9 asks, hey, do you record at home? If so, do you have any tips? Or maybe you can make a video of how a song of yours was created. I could definitely try to make a video. The home recording is not my strong suit, to be honest. I spent many a desperate phone call trying to figure out how to properly capture the sound that my guitar and voice was creating. So I think I might not be the person to answer this question for you, but I'm pretty sure that Josh Turner, actually, not to go back to Josh all the time, but he's a great recording and music engineer kind of guy. So apart from being an awesome songwriter and a guitar player and vocalist, but I think he's got some videos on his channel about home recording. I've watched some stuff of his where he talks about recording with like a Zoom handy recorder. So you could check that out if you're interested. And Alano's second question was, how often do you change strings or set up your guitars? I am really bad about changing strings. I'm like kind of lazy about it because I don't know. I don't see much point in changing the strings unless there's like something important going on. So like if I'm about to record a new song, I'll change the strings a few days before and kind of, wear them down a little bit. But like if I'm just, if I go a stretch of a few weeks or a few months where I'm just like writing songs and playing and practicing myself, I don't worry about it so much. But that's mostly because I'm a miser. Okay, Harinandan R, please excuse me if I screwed up the pronunciation. I don't mean to. What microphone do you use for recording, especially like your cover of The Boxer by S&G? Great question. So I use a Zoom H6 handy recorder, which is kind of like a modular microphone thing where you can like pop off like their XY stereo mic and pop on like they have a shotgun mic option and stuff, but it also functions as an audio interface if you need it to. But it captures really good sound. And I think I settled on that because I saw that Reina Del Cid was using one, and I was like, well, her stuff always sounds amazing, so I'm just going to use that. Okay, Dave Silver had a number of questions. How is the work coming on the next album? It's coming along very well. Most of it's written. It's just a matter of like narrowing down the song selection at this point. We use the same band Abso-friggin-lutely I will, if they'll have me. Did the ball and chain instance actually happen? No, it didn't. Okay, I hate to ruin the spell, but no. So ball and chain is like a lot of the songs that I write fall somewhere along the line between fact and fiction, and ball and chain is like completely fictional. I was just having a lot of fun, but I'm actually getting more into writing more fictionally based songs. I feel like early in songwriting, for me, a lot of it was about like exercising my demons emotionally, and so a lot of them are like kind of uncomfortably autobiographical. And so recently I've been sort of focusing on creating a story that doesn't necessarily involve my direct experience. And here's a sort of follow-up question from Dave that kind of addresses what I've just been talking about. You named a dog Riley in your song. Any special reason? Yes, in college, I lived in a house that had a beautiful backyard that backed up to an alleyway, and then on the other side of the alleyway, there were a bunch of backyards of the houses that they all backed up to this alleyway. And across the alleyway from us was this beautiful dog named Riley. And that song sort of came together because I was sitting out there on my deck one day. I was very spoiled in college to have a deck. And I was playing guitar, and Riley was barking, and I started to sort of think about what his life might be like. Oh, man. It sounds so dorky. Okay. Jean Lewin. I think it's Jean. Maybe it's Jean. But I think it's Jean. I have the impression that this individual is French. So that's what I'm going with. Sorry, Jean, if your name is Jean. How much of the lyrics of your songs is based on your life, and how much is to express your artistic needs? That's a really cool way to put that. I would say that it definitely changes from song to song, but the songs that I'm most proud of are songs that are more fabricated and more fictional and less based on direct experience. You guys are right next to the heat pipe. I live in a pre-war building in Harlem, so it's heated with a boiler in the basement and steam heating, which makes a whole racket, so let's hope that it doesn't get too loud. Aaron Davis, have you ever performed your original music in front of live audiences? I have not really had the chance to do so yet. I've performed a lot of Simon & Garfunkel music in front of a lot of people, but I'm hoping to make the transition to my own original music in front of a lot of people in the near future. We'll see. Ronald Suddy? I'm so sorry, Ronald. Is there a way for someone to send support directly to you other than Patreon? Yes, there is. In the description of this video, I will post links to other like money wiring services, Cashapp, Venmo, and PayPal. I'm on all of those, and those will, if you're interested in supporting me directly without any third party taking a cut, that is the way to do it. So I will put that down in the description of this video. And a follow-up from Ronald, will you be doing more work with Ben Cooley in the days to come? Absolutely, I will. Ben is a great friend of mine, and I just love singing with him so much. A lot of times singing with people, you have to sort of like negotiate and figure out how you're going to fit together. And because Ben and I have so much experience singing together, it's just kind of like putting on an old pair of shoes that you love. And it just feels so good. So yes, we will definitely be doing some more stuff together in the future. Baptiste Blett. Baptiste Blay? French? I'm sorry, Baptiste. I wish I was better at this. How do you come up with chords? Do you use some Western music theory knowledge, get inspired by other songs' chord structure, or just try out which ones sound the best on the spot? Sort of all of the above. My brother taught me some basic music theory when I was like a teenager. And a lot of it is like hearing a song that I like and thinking about what is it that I like about that song chord-wise, and kind of basing it off of that and then going. And then a lot of it is sort of trial and error with chords and fingerings and figuring out what works in both hands, right hand and left hand. Because a lot of times what I'm doing is finger picking stuff, and so I need, like, I'll find out that I want to do something in this hand that means that I have to finger a chord in this hand in a certain way so that I have the mobility to do it. And then that will usually lead me to what comes next. So it's very much about like sticking with the impulse of what's coming next. Great question though. Eric Higgins, did you go to college? If so, what for? I did go to college, Eric Higgins. And I went for theater. I studied acting in college. Calypso McKnight, do you have any more songs planned with Daniel Bush? We don't have anything on the books. But I loved singing with Daniel those 2 times. Daniel and I actually went to college together. We met at school. So, but I love singing with him too, and we're definitely going to be doing some more stuff in the future if he's up for it, which I think he will, because I think he has a lot of fun doing it too. B Guth 05, what's your favorite city? That's a really good question. I love living here in New York. I haven't always loved living here in New York, but I've grown fond of it. I've been to Madison, Wisconsin, and Madison, Wisconsin is extremely beautiful. San Diego is extremely beautiful. I don't know if I have a favorite city, though. That's a tough one. Paul Oxley, can you cover more country songs, please? Paul, I'll do my best. Let's see. Okay, this is a good one to end with. This is from This Be and Pyramus, I believe. And the comment is, I see a dog crate. Where's the dog? Full description, thanks. That's very acute of you. Yes, Scout and I recently adopted a dog. Her name is Indiana. Not named after the state, but named after Indiana Jones, obviously. Any Indiana Jones devotees out there will know that at the end of the 3rd film, we find out that Indiana Jones is, in fact, Indiana is the dog's name, the family dog. Sean Connery has the famous line, "We named the dog Indiana," and it's great. So that's what I actually call her. So we call her Indy, but if someone asks her name, I say, "Oh, we named the dog Indiana." Anyway, so yes, she's a sweetheart. She's about 40 pounds. She's a mutt from Mississippi. She's very sweet, very well behaved for the most part, and we love her a lot. And I'm sure that she'll, I think she's sleeping right now, which is why there's silence in the apartment. But I'm sure she'll make her way onto some videos in the very near future. So to summarize, thank you for being here. Thank you so much for your questions. Hopefully we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming this coming Sunday at 8 a.m. if all goes well. The play rehearsal process is picking up here, so I'm going to do my best to keep up with that and the video posting, so please be lenient with me. And again, if you're interested in seeing the play, it should be a lot of fun. The 2 actors in it, Scout and another friend of ours, are just tremendous. They're doing such good work, and I'm really proud of what we're putting out there. So it's going to be the first weekend of April. The ticket link will be in the description of this video. And I thank you so much for your time and for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Did it work?